Good morning, everybody. Welcome to SafeDefend Live. I'm with Craig Deaver. I know your fan club is online today, watching today. Pretty excited. We're going to
Sure.
talk about the state of school safety with Craig Deaver, a former teacher and now SafeDefend advocate and teammate. So, Craig, how you doing? And say hi to your fan club.
I'm wonderful. And hello there, fan club. It's great to see you yet again. How are you doing, Dave? You doing all right?
Well, as you can see, I'm doing very well. I'm outside today enjoying God's creations and be working with my wife today to get the house ready for my daughter and her friends. They come down to spend spring break at the lake. So
Oh, that'll be awesome. So you won't be doing any fishing. You'll just be doing cleaning.
no, I won't be here. I'm going to leave on
Oh,
Sunday morning and let them have the house for a few days. They're
I got
adults now,
you.
so they can
Even
they
smarter,
can
even
behave.
smarter.
Hopefully,
Okay, I got you.
yeah.
Well, that'll be exciting. Very nice.
So we've seen a lot of things happen in the realm of school safety. We've seen a lot of things come and go. You're on the road all the time talking to teachers and administrators. What are you hearing in the field about the state of school safety, and what are our administrators and teachers looking for to take care of their students?
Well, it's a great question, Dave. I spent 3 decades in the schools, and school safety went from there was none, literally. Then Columbine happened, and the protocol after Columbine was to huddle all the kids into the corner of a room and shut off the lights. And boy, that didn't sit well with me at all in 1993 or four or whenever that was happening. And then it's continued to progress. The good news is schools are taking it seriously. The good
Yep.
news is I haven't run across a school in a while that at least has some kind of locking mechanism on their doors. And in some cases, they're getting U-bolts and all sorts of stuff. So that's the good news. At least they've got that. Now, once you get a little above that, we're starting to see some pretty big issues. I suppose the newest craze out there is called wearables. And this is where
Yep.
a teacher or a staff member would have a badge or something, and they can press a button around their neck. And it probably isn't a stretch for anyone to figure out that there's going to be teachers that are going to be pressing that button quite a bit because
Sure.
of different situations. What I've run into with that, though, is a thing called alarm fatigue occurs. And I hate to say this, but I'm guilty of alarm fatigue because we used to do about 57 fire drills a year. And if it happened during my plan period, I'd put in earplugs, shut off the lights, and keep working on my computer. That's alarm fatigue. Well, if you have an alarm going off hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times throughout a month, guess what? You don't take it seriously anymore. And that's the one that could be deadly.
Well, I think it's interesting because at least when I was a child, we had the story of the boy who cried wolf, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
and we were that was kind of ingrained in us. Don't say anything unless it's serious. Don't make stuff up. Don't overtell your parents because at some point they're gonna go, yeah, he's just whining again, right? And I
mm-hmm.
think that's what we're seeing with the alarm fatigue piece is that something we simply learned in kindergarten isn't being followed today, and now we have an issue with alarm fatigue, not only from the teachers but our law enforcement. You
Yeah,
know, they run in hot 3 or 4 times for a false alarm. They're going to go, okay, I'm not going to risk
absolutely.
people's lives on the streets by driving 90 to the school to get there because it's probably nothing. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Well, it's 100% accurate. But the other one is, as a parent, and you're a parent, and there's lots of parents out there listening to this, there is nothing worse than hearing that your school is in a lockdown due to an event of some kind. And in fact, many parents try to rush to the scene, and you really shouldn't be doing that. But the point is it's for a community, it can be devastating. And so not only is alarm fatigue bad, but the other part of this is if you're having a false alarm is
Yep.
just equally as bad, maybe even worse. And that's not just wearables. I'm running into quite a few schools, especially in different states around the Midwest. They'll have some kind of panic button, which I applaud them. You need to have something. The problem is that there's no way to deter who presses the button, or it's a very simple thing and somebody accidentally presses the button and then the community is in an uproar. So really what we need to have is a way to control access to the button, and yet it still needs to be accessible.
So so one of the things I've seen out there, and SafeDefend has this, I think they're the only company that has this, is a biometric button for that can be installed in any classroom, any hallway, any common area that can only be activated by people who have been authorized in the system to activate the button. Is that a true
Absolutely.
statement about SafeDefend?
Yeah, that's a true statement. And I have one of them sitting right next to me here. I use it for sometimes for demos, but ultimately, if you take a look at one of these things, this would be in a hallway, and literally all it takes is, and then that's it. 911 just got notified. Every teacher just got a text, and so on and so forth. And it's so simple that even an idiot like me could do it. And the reason I say that is because we had a little incident at my school, and I got so nervous that I couldn't remember the phone number to the office. And I thought, oh my God, what are you doing here? I'm a 50-year-old dude. I'm like, what's the matter with you, man? But I can remember how to do this. That's it.
Well, and you bring up a good point, because not only are wearables popular right now, but we also have the applications that people are using. And
Mm-hmm.
from a combat perspective, having been there a few times in my life, I don't think people understand the term temporal distortion and the fog and friction that happens
Wow.
when
Yeah,
an event happens, right? And if you're not highly trained to use these tools, you're not going to function. You're going to go through
absolutely.
your phone trying to find the app. You're going to reach for your badge. You're going to dial in 911 and not know what to say. You're going to choke up on the comms. I mean, I've seen this more than once in my life, and I think it's important for teachers to understand that, and administrators and parents, we need to simplify the system to protect our children and to protect our teachers and staff.
Absolutely.
And we also need to have a reliable system that when that alarm goes off, you know exactly what it's for, and
Absolutely.
everybody rushing to the scene because there's only one reason that went off. Only
Right.
one.
It needs to
And
be a
that's to kill her.
standalone. It can't get, it gets confusing otherwise. It needs to be one reason only. And it needs to be, this is basically like a fire alarm for safety. But to your point, Dave, and I remember you being in combat because you're Air Force, right?
Yep. Yep.
Former Air Force. Okay. Um, I've listened to podcasts, and what my biggest regret is I never did the United States military for my country. I should have served, but I've listened to podcast stuff. You'll even have Navy SEALs freeze up
Yep.
after they've been
Yep.
trained forever, and it happens. So a teacher, it can definitely happen. It needs to be simple. The other thing that you bring up that I think is kind of interesting is this. Some of these devices, or I should say apps, they're free. The state says you can download this, schools, you can use it, we'll pay for it. And so initially you're like, well, that's a great idea. Well, then I'm running into quite a few schools where only 20% of the teachers are downloading it on their phones. They don't want to download it. And there's several reasons why, but the fact is, if only 20% are downloading it, it's useless,
Well,
and go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead. Sorry, Craig. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I mean, you have to have total buy-in, and you better practice that over and over. But more than that, I can't tell you how many times I'll pull up an app on my phone and I'll hit it and it'll say, oh, it needs to be updated.
That's where I was going.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Let's see. I'm in an active shooting environment here. I don't really have time for that right now. So I don't know. Apps are probably not the way to go either.
Well, and the other thing for applications, I've done a lot of work with software developers on other applications, and the reality of it is the app is only as good as the coder, and it's only as
Right.
good as the updates, and it's only as good as the phone it's built for, right? Because you can have an
Oh,
Android
yeah,
phone,
good
you can have
point.
an iPhone, you can have
Mhm.
15 different versions of phones with 15 different needs for an application to be updated, and they don't all work the same on every phone. And that's for some of the world's greatest apps, they struggle going from phone to phone.
Sure.
So that creates some other issues for our schools and our teachers. While that sounds like a good idea, I'm looking at my phone here. I want to see, I have 4, 8, 12, 16. I have 20. I have 80 apps on my phone. 80.
Yeah.
And from experience, when
Roll
somebody
through.
starts shooting, or when somebody starts shooting, or an engine catches on fire, or something
Right.
happens that's stressful, it, I'm just going to tell you, it's kind of hard even for trained people to find stuff
Right.
that they know where it is. I couldn't
Absolutely.
imagine not having hours and hours of training and that happening and me trying to find an application on my phone.
Right.
But I just don't see how it's
Right.
gonna is even viable. So
Now, I will say an app would probably be pretty handy for after the event. Maybe
sure,
to organize people and tell where to pick up kids and things.
yeah.
I think that'd be pretty handy then. But boy, in the middle of that event, I don't think so. I'd be a little nervous about that. So you bet.
So Craig, I think we all see the same thing. We need a single system hardwired solution with biometric access and tools to help our teachers to solve this problem. Is that a fair statement?
I think that's perfect. I can tell you, I got really tired of being told to throw a book at the bad guy and to arm my kids with books. And you know,
Well,
obviously, SafeDefend has the game changer for me that I love the most in the safety cabinet that you have to access through a fingerprint or biometric reader is pepper gel spray, and it will shoot across the room. It shoots 25 feet. And
that's
to be
amazing.
real honest with you, I don't know how great I would be with a weapon, but with pepper gel, you just got to get within a general vicinity, and I'm blown away at how effective that stuff works.
No, it's amazing. Well, Craig, this has been a great discussion today on the tools we have in the kit and the importance of safety. Thank you for taking time today. I want
My
you to get
pleasure.
back to what you're doing and helping teachers every day.
Tell your daughter and her friends to have a blast at your lake house. Good times.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Take
Have a
care.
great weekend, Craig. Good to see you, bud. Bye.
Bye.